Alright guys, there we are. We're getting ready to get into this game. It's going to be between OGS, TheSTC, and StarTales Parting. Both players are ready. And so we're going to jump into this game. Hope you guys are as excited for this match as I know I am right now. Series is going to start on MLG Daybreak. This is a best of 3. Guys, in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, we have our blue Terran player. This man from old generations is OGS, TheSTC. The STC going to be facing off today against his opponent spawning in the top right-hand corner of the map. He is Protoss, he is red, he is Parting. Pretty excited here for this match. Daybreak, a map, guys, that recently has received so much commemoration, I guess you will, with the recent voting of what map is going to be placed into the map pool next. Of course, being from the GSL. And, you know, Daybreak overwhelmingly received the most votes. Players want to see it. They want to play it more often. So we've got ourselves a very, very macro-oriented map here that hopefully is going to lend itself for a great, great match. Now, it is a Terran versus Protoss. On this map, Terran can have a little bit of a difficult time. Drops are somewhat limited as to the number of places that you can really choose to execute them. If we take a look at the main base, for example, you know, you've got the left-hand side, this back corner, but it's so easy for Protoss players to simply place their valuable tech structures, those forges, as well, in the back right of their base, or maybe even a little bit forward so that the army can get there just a little bit faster, and ultimately can protect those quite well, and makes it pretty tough for drop play to achieve anything in the main base. If you throw down a couple of photon cannons, the natural is just so well basically protected by its positioning once you establish a third. That's going to be the question for our Protoss player. It's a little tough to get thirds down here for Protoss on this map as you move, you know, towards that third base timing. Terrans tend to have a lot of upgrades finish around that time in the game, and ultimately can establish a lot of map control, but Probe gets taken out there by the OGS, the STC. Very, very nice job there. Pulling those extra SCVs off the line, and all of a sudden, Probe goes from orange health to dead health. Got an orbital command currently inbound for the STC. No gases, so it's looking like he's going to be going for a 1-Rax expand from his opponent, Parting. We have a very, very quick Nexus. Already halfway done here, guys. Throwing down the gateway behind it, and a simulator to boot. He wants to make sure gets himself a cybernetics core, and as quickly as possible here. Anything is possible at this point of the game. As I said, a very macro-oriented map. Now the STC going into a quick command center here. He's building it in base, and this is a very, very you know, strategically sound decision. The STC, though, I mean, he doesn't know about this Nexus first opening out of his opponent, is certainly not going to be doing anything to punish it. We see a couple of barracks going down as the follow-up here for the STC. 2 barracks or 2 gas is typically the route upon which you want to take as a Terran. If you go for that quick command center, STC is going to be opting for the safer of the two, and also the option that's going to allow him to exert some additional pressure early on if he so chooses. Parting's Nexus has completed at this point. Now, one of the reasons he is so good against Terran players is because he has the ability to play with greed quite effectively. He's very good at defending against any early pressure, which is not what we're going to see here. But if he manages to escape with this greedy play, he's excellent at turning that into a mid-game advantage, which ultimately lets him get those double forges that you guys heard Tumba and I talking about earlier that are just so dangerous for Terran players if they allow a Protoss player to finish those. Zealot's going to be taking out this supply depot, preventing any misclicks from our red Protoss. Probe on the field right now, getting some map control here. SCV headed out, gets scouted, and decides to turn around. Marine's going to come down the ramp in order to chase off this probe. They will likely run out to the Xel'Naga, knowing that the probe is going to be there. Is Parting going to pull it away in time? In fact, he will. That probe is going to live to see another day. Now, we do see the command center safely feeling as if it can maneuver towards the bottom of the ramp, as a bunker has been safely positioned here. I would expect SCVs to be transferred. He wants to make sure that if any crazy shenanigans do come his way, he wants to be able to throw some SCVs onto that barracks to repair it. Now, STC, taking a look at his vision, still has none whatsoever. A unit has not ventured past, well, the Zelnaga Tower, really. He's got an SCV looping around the bottom of the map right now, and I really like to see this, making at least an attempt to scout, but a Stalker is going to be there waiting for him. And, well, that SCV is likely going to get caught here. Does try to go into the smoke to pull an escape, and the Zealot is going to say, nay, you cannot come in here. And ultimately, that SCV, guys, gets taken out without much, really, of an achievement whatsoever. Nexus going down here for Parting. He is just playing so greedy on this map that allows such greed to be exacted. A couple of gateways going down for him right now. Actually, you know what? Take a look at that production tab. More than just a few gateways. He wants to make sure he's safe against any quick two-base play that we have coming from OGS, the STC. Now, taking a look in his base, we see that Stim, at this moment, is halfway done. He's got a number of barracks, a factory going down as well. Expect the starport to follow that up. Engineering bay in addition, and a beautiful timing for it, in fact. If he did have to encounter something like Dark Templars. A bunker going down, however, for the STC. And, you know, he has to make this play because his scout was denied, and he saw his opponent with really, really good map presence. Unfortunately for the STC, this is not the play he wants to be making. He does not want to be bunkering, hunkering down, pick any word that ends in unker. STC wants to avoid it at all costs. In fact, he wants to do all the greed because he needs money, and he needs some greedy play styles here to complement exactly what Parting is doing, because as it stands, he's not going for any very early timings. Parting, on the other hand, has amassed quite a number of gateway units here, with the 6 or 7 gateways, I believe he's at this point. Now, does have his third Nexus, so this isn't your traditional 7-gate. We're at the 9-minute mark right now. A lot of sentries on the field for Parting. No medevacs have gotten on the field quite yet. STC with his whole army forward gonna stim. Will he decide to chase down the ramp? It's a very risky maneuver, as Parting could simply force field it, as the destructible debris still is here. And STC dancing back and forth, trying to catch Parting off his guard. Now, Stim was blown there for the STC, so a lot of his Marines are much, much lower on health, as he does not have that combat shields. They're down to just 35 hit points. The sentries coming in now, big timing here for Parting with all of these units. Guardian shield going down, force fields dropping behind the bunkers, prohibiting any SCVs from repairing it. And the Marines are hesitant to pursue here because the bunkers are still standing, simply put. Stalker reinforcements coming in here from the relatively close proxy pylon here for Parting. Force fields going down, but not getting that last one, as there were no sentries. Take a look at the energy on those sentries. A lot of them in the front did not have enough to drop that final force field that would have made a big difference there for Parting, but he really hasn't killed off that many units. All the Marines still sitting fairly decent on hit points, and a third bunker did complete for the STC to replace that bunker that was eliminated earlier on. Parting going to continue the pressure here, though. Throws down the Guardian Shield once again, manages to take out this bunker in the top left, but there are a lot of Marines still in place. Taking a look at the Stalker health, still pretty hefty Stalker reinforcements here for Parting, and he is kiting it to the best of his ability here. But ultimately, there are a lot of Marines, the medevac supporting them so well, and it looks like we have possibly seen OGS, the STC, hold this off. Now, guys, one bunker still does remain. Parting is going to continue the pressure, as he does still. Take a look at the health on these Stalkers. Most of them are full. We have one Stalker here in the front that I'd love to see Parting pull to the back that is quite injured indeed, but a lot of Zealots coming in here, and those are going to be quite meaty with their armor advantage against the very relatively low Marine count. Another thing to point out is we don't have a lot of Marauders here. I would have loved to see more Stalkers, but right now the pressure is mounting here as Parting coming in. The Marines cutting back as best as they can. The FCVs surrounding this bunker, and ultimately that bunker is the bastion of this base for the STC. But behind all this, guys, take a look at the economy we've got going on for both players, because we haven't been able to have a chance to look away, but I need now to point these things out. 66 workers for Startails Parting. He has such an economy going on. Behind it, he's teching, getting himself charged. He's got just so much going on. He's chrono boosting out of his Nexus, making more and more probes. Yeah, I was looking for that double forge. I really didn't want to throw back to the production tab. I want to point out STC, with just 41 workers, is doing everything he can to get back with this economy. But he's so far behind at this point. And this is what I was talking about earlier about Parting. If he manages to pull ahead early, he's so good at, this is more than you could hope for to be able to keep your opponent pinned down on 2 base. But he's very good at making this this heavy macro play allow him to move into further layers of greed, if you will. You know, you chew through the granola only to arrive at the blueberries in your parfait. Parting now with not only tech, but he's got the upgrades, chrono boosting out as well, and that's just going to make him so powerful in the mid game. Now he is investing a whole lot into the tech, into the upgrades, also into this economy, and is going to be possibly vulnerable here for a very short period of time. But I mean, the worker count 45 to 74. Take a look at the vision of STC right now. He has managed to scout this third. Didn't get to click or even look at the assimilators though, so doesn't really know how long this has been in order. And this is consequence really earlier to that scout from STC not managing to see the vital pieces of information that he needed to, and deciding not to lay down any scans. So STC moving out across the board right now with his Marines and Marauders and Medevacs, but honestly, there's just such a low quantity of them, and we do see that Parting now is beginning to get the warpins really kicking in. And without some further tech or a massive influx of units here from OGS, the STC, I honestly don't know how he's going to manage to deal with this. Simply put, guys, Parting's economy is massive, and he's starting to reap the benefits. Look at Storm is currently about a third of the way done. He's got a number of Archons in his army, and, well, I am excited right now because I just got joined by my co-caster, Robson.
Yes, Kibbles, it is so good to be here, man. Getting in here just in time for an extremely exciting match. Now, we've seen that Parting, I was watching you for a little bit. Parting has pretty much held down the STC on those 2 bases, as you just said. But right now, the STC is doing just what he needs to get back in this. He's taking a bit of a risk. He is expanding twice.
Absolutely. You know, one of the things we love to point out is that when you're behind, you can't play a standard game. You have to take these risks, and he's doing a fantastic job of it right now because, honestly, as you said, the double expansion stands the potential to make a world of a difference, but it looks like Parting is smelling something here because he's mounting up for some serious pressure based on just gateway units here.
Right, and Parting's done a great job. I absolutely love the Zealot Archon combo. He has just enough Stalkers mixed in there to pepper some extra damage. It's actually looking like STC may have just sandwiched himself in between a rock and a Parting place, and now we see all of the Zealots getting in there and just tearing them alive, but the stim might be too much. It seems like Parting's army was just distracted for a little too long.
Yeah, a lot of these Marines and Marauders falling right now, but Parting with the Zealot reinforcement through the bottom is right now going for the Planetary. Is that the right decision here, Rob?
Oh man, this could get very dangerous for him. We see him going for the Planetary. It's not looking like he's going to be able to take that down, but fortunately, that forward pylon is going to be able to bring in some additional reinforcements, but surprisingly enough, I actually think that Parting had enough to slay the rest of that army. What do you think about that retreat?
Yeah, honestly, I think he believes he's in such an economic advantageous position right now that he can play pretty safe here. He doesn't want to throw away Zealots and give STC the opportunity to come back. I think that Planetary really caught him off guard. He didn't expect it to be done already, and when he came in there, he didn't exactly know how to handle it.
And he actually kind of left a few Zealots on there. I think that he's also being distracted as he expands to his 4th over on the right side. But right now, we do see those Zealots trying to get in there. That's a lot of Marines. We see some more Zealots coming in, and as long as STC stays on top of his micro, he may be able to take this. We don't see really any reinforcements coming in. It's looking like Parting is going to be able to chase him back into his base.
Yeah, he's doing a great job of it right now, pressuring up against the Zealot. Finally, the supply Pivos actually are lifted. A beautiful EMP to point out from OGS the STC there, guys. But now the SCV is actually, wow, caught transferring there, I guess, and now wants to retreat with them. STC having to lift up that command center. He's looking in a pretty rough position here because behind all this, his economy really has not caught up yet.
That's right, and Parting has expanded up to a 5th base as well. We see those 2 Nexuses in production as he continues to pummel down the STC in the first game of this series. Oh, unfortunate for the STC, man. I don't see him coming back from this.
Yeah, and I mean, SCV is now retreating from the natural expansion into the main, and with such a maneuver at the 18-minute mark, you know you're in trouble. In fact, the natural expansion it's going to go down here, and I think with it, probably the hopes here of STC managing to pull this off. SCV's coming off the line now, guys, to try to get in front of these Marines, but he's just going to GG.
And that's unfortunate. So the STC has been forced to tap out in the first game, meaning that he is going to be up 1-0 in the series. Parting doing a great job keeping the STC on 2 bases for just long enough to take a huge advantage.
Yeah, a lot of it came down to Parting preventing the scout. He did
what happened early in that game?
Well, you know, he took this Stalker and he placed it right out front of the 3rd, but so far out that it didn't look too suspicious, and as it ran up towards the SCV, ran up towards the Zelnaga tower, he chased it with the Stalker. Didn't seem like he was guarding anything, more just denying scouting information. The STC, being unsure of what his opponent was doing there, opted to drop a bunker to be safe. We saw him really hunker down, and it unfortunately wasn't the right decision. I would have loved to see a scan go down on the third, because that Stalker position indicates that maybe he's got something to hide.
Right, exactly, because having a stalker out there and stopping that scouting, that's generally the exact time when you want to get as much information on your opponent as possible. It's an interesting decision that his response to being unable to scout was to bunker down like that. It sounds like that was just the mistake that cost him the game.
Yeah, it put him in a defensive mindset. A bunker, yes, only 100 minerals. You want to say a bunker doesn't lose the game, but when you build bunkers at such a time, I believe it was around the 8-minute mark or so.
Oh, wow. Pretty early on, yeah.
Yeah, if you're throwing down those bunkers while your opponent is taking a third and really macroing intensely, you're asking for trouble.
Absolutely. And so are we going to be able to go in game number 2 here?
In fact, we are, Rob. I am ready to start this game. I know both our players are guys. STC wants some revenge. He's going to be playing crisp and clean here in game 2 versus Parting.
That's right. Moving into game number 2, they are going to be playing on Shakuras Plateau. So maybe we'll see a little bit of a macro game here. I know